When you feel bad, that's actually great. And here's why. This is something I've been struggling with just recently, but also lifelong, really. I've noticed that there are times in life when I feel great. That tends to carry on for good periods of time, and then, after a while, something will happen. I can't even explain it. Call it the cycle of the moon, call it burnout from work, I don't even know. But after a while, I'll notice I'll start to feel bad. And it'll actually be very hard to shake this feeling, just not feeling good. Things frustrate me more easily. Depression sometimes, and just kind of perhaps a bit of a lackluster attitude towards life in general. And it'll take me a while sometimes to shake myself out of that. And then I'll feel fine. I'll feel totally great for a while. Weeks may go by, months may go by, and I can be flying high on a kite for quite a while. And then, for no explicable reason, the pattern recurs. Sometimes I can feel great for weeks. Sometimes I feel great for days. Sometimes it kind of goes up and down. Right? It's very difficult to predict how moods are going to ebb and flow, but one thing I have noticed is that moods do tend to ebb and flow, and that there seems to be a habitual cycle of our mind, of our being, of our subconscious, whatever it is, I'm not entirely sure, but there seems to be a habitual cycle which sometimes makes us feel great, sometimes kind of puts us down. Why is that? And why is it great to feel bad? Well, here's something that I realized this time around. And every time around, man, I wish I could figure out how to get out of it. And every time I get out of it, I feel like, that's great. I'll never get back into that bad head or mind space again. But then something happens and I just start feeling it. It's tricky. But here's why feeling bad is actually good. Because it is a contrast. It is a teacher. It is a glaring light of focused data pointing out to something or some aspect of your rational or subconscious process which is causing you to feel that way. It's pointing out a way of thinking, a lens at which you're looking through the world, or perhaps a habitual sub-behavior of which you're not even fully aware. It's pointing out something. When you're not feeling good, your emotions are pointing out something, conscious or subconscious, which is causing you to not feel good. And that's good because it's an opportunity to evaluate, to really evaluate and go deep inside of that feeling and to meditate and to examine where that malfunction is coming from. Why are you feeling bad? That's the question. And eventually what I tend to notice is that I'll start to feel better when I address the underlying cause of what might be making me feel bad. And typically it ends up in a reframing of the way that I'm thinking about something. And sometimes the frame at which I'm thinking about something I think comes out of a bit of subconscious habit. It's sort of the body-mind. It's the mammalian mind, I believe, trying to assert a sort of equilibrium in that our body-mind sometimes tries to keep us into habits and behavioral patterns which we have formed throughout our life somehow or another, and it tries to keep us there. If we get to too high of a place, it'll try to balance us back down by sometimes pulling us back down to a more equilibrium sort of state. Why it does this, I don't know. Everybody's equilibrium is probably a little bit different as well, but I don't like it much. I don't like how it feels much, but the frame that I'm looking at it through this time around is maybe it's not such a bad thing. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to feel bad because, like I say, it's that light that is now flashing upon a way of thinking which is causing me to feel bad. It's usually, like I say, it's usually a lens. The lens at which we look through life determines everything. The same person could look at a good situation or a bad situation through a different lens and feel great about it or feel bad about it. Right? It all depends on how you look at it and what lens you're looking through. And so if you recognize points in your life when you're not feeling good, that is your emotional, your emotional intuition, your emotional wisdom, which is pointing out to you a bit of an issue that's going on with your thinking process, with your subconscious, with something that your emotional wisdom is letting you know through the feeling of feeling bad or not feeling your best that something is not working quite optimally. And so take some time to meditate, to think, to meditate. Meditation is so key. It's the best way to really go into our mind and really evaluate where a feeling is coming from and how to potentially change it. And sometimes this can be quick and easy, and sometimes this could take hours, and sometimes this could take a few days. But each time you feel bad, if you think about feeling bad in this way, you will have an opportunity to course correct and discover a bad lens in your program and hopefully replace it with a good lens. Now, this may take repetition because behavior doesn't necessarily change immediately just because you're aware of it. You have to continually remind yourself. It's kind of like memorizing a phone number, right? If you read it one time, you don't necessarily memorize it, but if you repeat it, eventually it sticks in there, and recalling it is nothing. All right, I just did that today. That's why that jumps out as an example. It's a pretty good example. So yeah, I hope somebody has enjoyed this video. And hopefully this idea helps you to reframe when you're feeling bad into a constructive opportunity to discover how to create a more optimized operating system. Because when you create better and better habits, I would think over time that you start to weed out the bad lenses and replace them with good lenses, and so the things that used to affect you may not affect you in the same negative way. They may not make you feel bad in the way that they once did, and eventually, hopefully, optimally, we'll all feel absolutely amazing 100% of the time. Maybe that's unrealistic, but that's my goal. I think that should be a pretty good outcome, a goal, and kind of purpose to strive towards in life. Feeling great. Why not? Okay, have a great day.